So let me also tell you honestly, every family or every friend or a हमसफर, सबके अपने अपने तरीके होते हैं to judge and make sure that she is on the right path. देश में तो गरीबी है, देश में अभी भी बहुत लोगों के उत्थान की जरूरत है. जब एक देश डेवलप करता है तो उसकी प्राइस उस समय जो है उसको देनी पड़ती है. एक टाइम था जब हमारे देश में 95% टैक्स था. But what I believe is, and probably that is what you want to know, is you should never give up. So if I just give you a colloquial language for it, when it is a jaundice case,
okay,
then they come to me.
Welcome to another episode of Twisted Truths. On today's episode, we have with us Dr. CS Advocate Ms. Mamta Binani. She is a distinguished professional who has made remarkable contributions in the fields of corporate governance, insolvency, and law. As the National Past President of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India for the year 2016, she holds the distinction of being the second woman to have held this prestigious position in the Institute's 52-year history. Dr. Binani's career has been marked by numerous accolades and pioneering achievements, including being the first Indian registered as an insolvency professional and the first Indian to receive the prestigious IWIRC Women of the Year in Restructuring Award. Her dedication to social causes, leadership in various organizations, and advocacy for women's empowerment make her a truly inspirational figure in the corporate and legal world. Let's get ready to welcome her. Hello Mamta ma'am, welcome to our show. How are you feeling today?
Thank you, Joydeep. Thank you for having me in the show.
My pleasure. कैसा लग रहा है आपको यहाँ आके?
Very, very happy about it. So this gives me a kick actually.
Really?
Thank you.
It's our honor that you're here. So firstly, how do you juggle so many roles? You're a doctor, you're a CS, you're an advocate. You're not obviously a medical doctor,
I understand.
But so how do you manage all these roles together?
So Joydeep, I must say that this is a continued question that I get, and very honestly, I don't find it so difficult at all. For me, it's very seamless and very effortless. And I guess because I always try to make the best use of the time that I have. And as a female or as a human being, I guess we have this ability to manufacture time. Though we all have 24 hours in a day, but when we tend to not waste our time or just dissipate with our time, I think we have enough to do what we want to do.
Right.
So it's very important to understand that what are you so passionate about? What is it that gives you a kick? So for me, the work that I do is I find it always very happening because I am in practice.
Right.
So practice means, a person only comes to me when they are hugely stuck. So if I just give you a colloquial language for it, when it is a jaundice case, then they come to me. Okay, yeah. So, pulling them out of that deep hole that they are into, it's really very satisfying. And after that, what I love to do also is public speaking.
Right.
Like it for me, it's hugely detoxification. I mean, I love it thoroughly. So whenever, and I always get 1 or 2 opportunities to speak in a week, if not more. So I always latch on to it. Sometimes my husband says, when will you read? When will you prepare yourself? And he knows that I never go unprepared.
Right.
I don't know where I get the time, but I just do it. I love it.
So you've never faced an issue of burnout or of say wearing out, and you felt the need to stop everything for say a week or 10 days or maybe even 2-3 days? Not
really. Sundays are cool. Sundays are very relaxing. That's enough for me.
So you don't go for a family
I go for a holiday. Yeah. We
so
go for a
how
holiday.
Often do you go?
Once in a year.
And we make it a point.
So I live in a joint family.
Okay.
When I got married, actually I got married to a whole family.
Okay.
So we were about 40 people living together. Now we are about 13-14 heads living together.
Oh my
so we are
God.
still in a joint family.
Yeah.
So I'm with my parents, with my in-laws, and we have the brothers-in-law and the sisters-in-law and their children. So it's a very exciting and large family. So I'm the eldest bahu in the family.
Okay. So with you being so active in your profession, so how does say a morning routine in your daily life look like on the weekdays specifically?
Okay. So I wake up at around 5. So even if I sleep at 3, my pillow just wakes me up at 5. So that has been the ritual since childhood. I remember when I was a child, my mom used to say, Jaldi utho, and talk loudly, study loudly, so that the words falls in my ears.
Okay.
So she used to wake us up at 4 o'clock and used to make us study, me and my sister.
Okay.
My sister hardly used to get up, but I always used to get up because I was very fond of my mother.
So you were the good child.
I was a good child,
Okay.
and she used to love me a lot. So that is the reason I think, that it went inside my DNA of
Okay.
waking up early.
Right.
So after I wake up, I just look for a small meditation of 10-15 minutes that gives me the rejuvenation, and I then go for a walk, or I do some strength training at home itself.
Okay.
And then from 7 a.m. onwards is a kitchen time. So I just make sure that everything is in the house, everything is well managed, etc. So that takes about 1.5 hours.
Right.
And from 8:30, I just rush for my court, because
Okay.
it's 9:30. I have to leave home anyhow, because the court timings are 10:30.
Right.
So we always try to reach court at least 10-15 minutes before, so that palpitation is not so high. So 8:30 to 9:30 is I do my morning rituals. I have a bath, etc., and a small puja, and then I leave home.
Okay.
With my tiffin. I'm a person who doesn't like to eat outside.
So coming to the family part, so how do you, and so if I talk about say immediate family, so who's there? So you have your husband and
I have a child.
Okay.
She is a girl child.
Right.
She's 22 years
Right.
old, almost 23 now, and she's an archaeologist.
Okay.
So she's completely different from what me and my husband does. My husband is a chartered accountant and an insolvency professional,
Right.
and so am I. I'm a CS and an insolvency professional,
Right.
and an advocate.
Right.
Whatever I am today is because of him, but nonetheless, I have immediate families. I have a girl child.
Okay. So like there's an argument these days, which is like, why should anybody? It can be your husband, your brother, or your father, or your boyfriend, or anything. Why should anybody, allow or let you do stuff?
I
Right?
understand.
It's in today's century, I think in today's time and age, where already women have been oppressed for a number of years and of centuries and all of that. So, and you being at the top of your game professionally, obviously you working at home is something which you said is unwinding for you, so that's by choice. But even both domestic or your professional area, like both are equally important. So everything I believe should be by the women's choice and not somebody imposing on her or anything of that sort. So आपको कभी भी ऐसा महसूस हुआ है कि मैं घर के भी काम कर रही हूँ, मैं बाहर के भी काम कर रही हूँ, तो थोड़ा सा प्रेशर हो जा रहा है, आई विश मुझे एक ना करना पड़ता, ऐसा कभी भी आपको लगा है?
So whatever I tell you today is very candid.
And we are
Because
a very candid chat. Yes.
I think that's very important.
Yes.
So see, today I may say that I'm doing it by choice, or it's very unwinding. But maybe in the yesteryears, it would not have been that.
Right.
I am already 28 years into my marriage.
Right.
So, we've traveled that path when certain things and where certain things were not so rosy and nice as we think of today.
Exactly.
Because over a period, a person grows, the situation changes,
Right.
and then you get into a relaxed mode.
Yeah.
But everyone has to have their share of slot
Right.
and their share of struggle.
Yes.
I've also had that, and have had that immensely. But what I believe is, and probably that is what you want to know, is you should never give up. Always remember, it's your dream that you pursue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to own that dream.
Absolutely.
And not only own that dream, you've got to fight for your dream.
Yes.
Second is, there's nobody else who's going to fight for you.
Correct.
Somebody is going to just push you or give you a pat at the back once, twice, thrice, 4 times. At the 5th time, it is only you who have to stand up and say that you wish to do this.
Right.
And saying is not enough. You've got to prove it that you want to do it. So I have gone through all of it.
Right.
I have fallen down, always got up, fallen down, always got up. And sometimes fallen down because people have let me fall, okay, make me fall. But that's okay. That's a part of
Right.
human life. Even in animal kingdom, it happens.
Right.
It happens everywhere.
Right.
So is it not happening with our Prime Minister, President, sir, everywhere, every
Absolutely.
country?
Absolutely.
Because human beings are same everywhere.
Right.
So I don't really think that I am the chosen one from the God who's been given her share of struggles. Everyone has it.
Everybody goes
So
through
by
it.
this, I only wish to tell you that yes, I've had my shares. I also wish to tell you that you did mention the word that who is somebody to allow you.
Allow or let, as you
Yeah.
said.
So I want to tell you that in the era that I became a company secretary and I started working, that was in 1995, 96, 97.
Right.
That was a time when you and me couldn't have sat this together
And
and
having such
said
an open
this, yeah,
conversation.
for
Things
a
were normalized.
absolutely, and
I
that
know.
too for a Marwari family,
Yeah, yeah,
for a family which may be worded as a typical Marwari family.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you're saying that,
Yeah. So because let people know about this, that there, I want to tell you that letting and allowing actually played a lot of role.
At that point.
At that point in
Right,
time. Maybe
right.
today it's actually a very outdated word. And
Absolutely.
people will laugh at you and
Yeah,
me if
yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah.
But that time it was
I
not.
know.
My husband, my in-laws allowed me. I sincerely thank them.
Right.
But I had the share of my tribulations.
Right. Like today, if somebody does that to your daughter, you'd rather say leave that
Yes,
person, right?
I agree.
So-
Absolutely,
I know.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Now, in fact, we teach her that
yeah,
nobody should allow you.
Exactly.
That's your right.
Exactly. Right,
But it
right.
takes time to
So
have that
why do you
sink in.
think even today there's a large portion of Indian society which still thinks like this, and why do you think is that? I know it's years of patriarchy
I
and all of that,
understand.
but what is your opinion, and how do you think that should change? See, in the urban area, it's still changing. In the semi-urban area, this may be improving, but
Yeah.
in the rural areas, it's still in a very bad shape.
So, as rightly said, that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So, I have my own understanding. Okay, my understanding is a lot of people have this concept of how can my friend, my wife, my whatsoever is allowed to move ahead of me.
The male
Okay,
ego.
yeah,
It
your
is what it
terminology.
is.
So,
Yeah.
I'm saying that. The, the factor of, I don't know, should I call it jealousy or should I
Please
call
do.
it,
Feel free to call it
yeah, I
whatever you
mean, or
want.
should
Yeah.
I call
Let's
it,
call a spade a spade.
I mean,
Yeah.
or should I call it a feeling of insecurity? The feeling of, the lack of feeling of togetherness, the lack of feeling of trust is an important factor. The moment as a partner you feel that, she's trustworthy, we'll go together, let her do whatever she wants, she'll never leave me, she'll be with me. अभी प्रॉब्लम ये हो रहा है कि आप कई बार सोचते हैं कि अगर मेरे से आगे बढ़ जाएगी तो she'll seek for a divorce, she'll have her own set of rules for the family, she'll not take care of my parents, she'll not take care of her own children. These are the issues which is actually being faced by the society at large today. I think those fears then overtake any other good feeling that you will have once let go things. So I think letting go is a big factor which stops an individual
I
to
totally
do
agree on
things.
that. Totally. Like this is and actually think on hindsight, I think this is really one of the issues which plagues the Indian
Yeah,
society.
I think the issue of friendship, togetherness, bonding is lacking. बॉन्डिंग कैसे होगा? अभी हम हर आदमी अपने अपने मोबाइल में रहता है, आप बात नहीं करते हो एक दूसरे से. हस्बैंड वाइफ सिटिंग टुगेदर, दे डोंट टॉक टू ईच अदर इवन ऑन अ स्टडी टेबल और ऑन अ डिनर टेबल, दे आर नॉट टॉकिंग. सो अनलेस यू टॉक, यू शेयर, अपने दुख दर्द अपने बांटते हैं ना, तभी रिलेशनशिप फोर्टिफाई होता है. तो हमारे केस में सब होते थे हमारे टाइम में.
कभी आपने अपने वर्क स्फीयर में कभी प्रेजुडिस फेस किया है?
ओ मेनी अ टाइम्स.
कोई एक ऐसा स्टोरी बताइए ना,
many
without
many
naming
many
anybody.
many times I've faced, many times. So when we go for an audit, and that audit is, we'll have to go to factories, and factories are located at remote areas, obviously.
Yes.
Or maybe you've got to come back at night, which is
Yeah.
like midnight or something,
Yeah.
or you have to travel very early morning, or even you have to travel international flights, you've got to take domestic flights or take by train. So there are a lot of issues that safety issues crops up basically. So that actually then hinders your growth because you just don't know what to do about it. You don't want to leave your assignment because these days we are in a competitive world. Leaving one assignment doesn't mean one assignment. Then you lose the faith of the society that they feel, oh, she will not be able to do this, she'll not be able to do that. So it's not one assignment, it's actually a whole lot of hit on your goodwill. So therefore, I have faced this in and out, but I have been able to talk to my family and say and show them and showcase them that you can trust me. I will be able to handle myself. So let me also tell you honestly, every family or every friend or a humsafar सबके अपने अपने तरीके होते हैं to judge and make sure that she is on the right path, etc. You know, even I would probably do it for my partner. A girlfriend boyfriend also does it, ना. So आपको ना वो ट्रस्ट गेन करनी पड़ती है जयदीप. वो अपने आप सोचोगे ना आपको प्लेट में डाल के सब कुछ मिल जाए. As you gave me a cup of coffee today, served in a cup. If I would have been at home, I would have had to prepare the coffee myself. I know how much sugar, who will like what. I'll have to take care of that. So it's first giving and then taking. So believe me, even today, you're giving me this opportunity to sit here and talk to you. I am obliged. Right. So, you know, first you have to give an opportunity. Believe you me, it comes back. It comes back in huge leaps and bounds. So coming back to your question, that yes, there are prejudices, but now I don't see that. Don't see that. It's quite reduced. So if you find a female in front of you today, I've seen that the other side is happy to have a female, and because they somewhere feel, with no offenses, they somewhere feel that she'll be serious. She'll just not move around. She'll do her work very cautiously, carefully. She'll submit the report. If she's saying that she'll submit it by 11 a.m. tomorrow, she'll burn the midnight oil and she'll send it. So I think there has been a 360-degree change.
Yeah, which I think there's definitely because apparently I think I read it somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but I think leaders who are women prime ministers, presidents are running the country better than who are men. So there are no wars. So there are no discussions on anything. Fight. There's no civil war.
Yeah, you talk. You try to find a middle path.
Yeah.
Sometimes otherwise, you know, people feel कि यार देख लेंगे अभी तो मुझे वो बोल के गया. और हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? देखेंगे ना कैसे करना है. So देख लेंगे और हम लोग बोलते हैं देखेंगे ना कैसे करना है. We'll find a way out. So there's a lot of difference. But I think sometimes देख लेंगे works better. And sometimes देख लेंगे कैसे करना है works better. So it depends on the situation.
So there are both sides of the coin.
Sides. So I don't want to say men are not doing it well and women are doing it well.
Right.
I'm just trying to tell you a point that things have become much better. Much better.
Right. So between the things that you do, which one do you enjoy the most doing?
I enjoy facing the public. I like to speak. I like to do my arguments in the court.
Okay.
So I like palpable work. I don't like something which is stagnant, which is just on the paper. I like something which is happening in reality.
So you're saying
So I'm a restructuring specialist.
So your CS work you don't enjoy that much as compared. You do that.
I do because now CS work is not about. For example, 20 years back also it was not so. But people had a perception that it's writing minutes. Whatever the meeting has happened, it's recording the minutes. But believe you me, it was never that. And I had realized it much before. It's very exciting because you're sitting in the board of directors room, you're understanding what's happening. They're all nation builders.
Right.
So when you're mingling with the nation builders, you get to learn so much, you get to do so much.
Right.
I'll always tell you something, as I just mentioned, that it depends on you. If you are in a jail, for example, okay, and somebody tells you, what can you look outside? Somebody will say, hey, I look at the star and they are so beautiful. And somebody will say, oh, there's so much of filth, mud outside. So it actually depends on what you want to take from the piece of cake that you have in front of you.
Wow, well said.
I believe in it actually.
That's an example I'll be using now. Yeah, it's the way, it's a perspective basically, how you look at things.
Absolutely. So I always found opportunities. And I was all India topper in my exams. And that time, all India topper meant too much. Because the results were very small.
Yeah. In fact, I have a question for that. How did you, आपने कितना पढ़ना पड़ा था आपको?
बहुत पढ़ती थी बाप रे. My mother used to say जब देखो पूरे
घर में पढ़ते थे और आप कुछ नहीं करते थे?
No, I used to
देखना या
नहीं सब करते थे. And in fact मेरे घर में बहुत गेस्ट्स आते थे. मतलब जब before my marriage तो मेरे को यही सिखाया गया था मम्मी से कि अतिथि देवो भव. तो हम लोग इतने गेस्ट का ध्यान भी रखते थे और 2 रूम में 50 लोग पे रुक जाते थे.
अच्छा.
पहले का जमाना ही कुछ और था. अभी भी कितना याद आता है. अभी 10 रूम के रूम घर में भी आप 5 जन आ जाते हैं ना तो लोगों को लगता है अरे कब जाएगा वो बंदा. सो आई थिंक बहुत बदल गया है सब कुछ. बट आई विश टू टेल यू दैट पढ़ना मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता था. मुझे वो किताब खोलती थी ना तो मुझे लगता था कि कुछ तो निकल के आ रहा है, कुछ शब्द, और वो मेरे एकदम जहन में एक सेक्शन एक बार अगर पढ़ लिया तो मुझे याद हो जाता है. Because I love it, not because of anything else. I'm not a brilliant guy. What I understand is everything works on logic.
Despite not being brilliant, you became.
No, but believe you me,
became a topper.
बिकॉज आई वॉज, आप जब किसी चीज में अपना दिल लगा देते हो ना, तो वो सब चीज बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है। आप किचन में भी, आपको क्यों बोला जाता है कि एक मेड कुक करती है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक वर्क हेल्प, और एक बीमार आदमी के लिए घर की लेडी अपने आप से कुक करती है, तो दोनों में ऐसा क्या मैजिक है? वही आलू है, वही तेल है, वही कुकर है, वही आग है, बट आप अपना दिल जब उसमें लगा देते हैं ना, वो खाने का स्वाद ही बदल जाता है। उसी तरह से जो भी मैं करती हूँ ना, मेरा उसमें दिल लगा लेती हूँ मैं, और अपने आप लग जाता है। तो आई थिंक वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। इसलिए ब्रिलियंस कुछ काम नहीं आता है, काम हमेशा परसिस्टेंस काम आता है, ये हमेशा ध्यान रखो।
अच्छा, for the person who's unaware, so how would you differentiate a CA and a CS in simple terms,
Okay.
for the lay person?
Yeah, now nobody is a lay person, let me tell you. But हमारे जमाने में जब मैंने CS शुरू किया था, सबको मुझे यही बोलना पड़ता था, ये CA जैसा कुछ कोर्स है। तो तुमने सही क्वेश्चन पूछा। उस समय CS कोई इतना जानता नहीं था, कोई भी नहीं जानता था, तो बहुत कम लोग जानते थे। तो हमें, मैं जब निकलती थी ना, तो लोग बोलते थे कहाँ जा रही है, मैं ट्रेनिंग करने के लिए निकलती थी, तो मैं बोलती थी वो आर्टिकलशिप जो यहाँ होवे है ना CA में, भैया जा रही हूँ माँ। तो सबको ऐसे बोल के जाना पड़ता था कि CA जैसा कुछ ट्रेनिंग मेरे यहाँ भी CS में भी होता है, उसके लिए मैं जा रही हूँ। तो अब अगर डिस्टिंग्विश करना हो, तो फॉर द पीपल एट लार्ज, CA इज मोर अबाउट अकाउंट्स, फाइनेंस, it's more about number crunching. Okay, it's understanding the balance sheet, etc. Though CS is also about this, but in a less manner. We are more into reading the laws. What are the laws of the country? What are the economic laws, for example? What are the commercial laws? And we try to decipher and interpret the laws.
Right.
And if a company is doing something, is it within the framework of law or not? Is it in compliance with the laws of the land or not? Is what the CS takes care of.
Right.
And it also hugely takes care of the governance. So we are called as the conscience keepers of the companies.
Okay.
Because we take care of the governance.
So coming to the laws, so आप लोग के इनकम टैक्स लॉस के बारे में भी आप लोग पढ़ते हो, या उसके बारे में भी आप लोगों को काम करना पड़ता है उसको लेकर?
So corporate laws is something which we excel,
right,
and go deep diving. But income tax laws, more deep diving happens with a CA.
Right.
Though we get a bird's eye view of Income Tax Act, but a deep diving is done by a CA.
Right.
For us, Companies Act, economic laws is where we specialize.
So coming to the economic laws, have you maybe in the last 9 years, have you ever got a chance to work with the government of India in any particular project?
Yes.
So what is your opinion of the 9 years of the Modi government in terms of the financial growth of India?
So I'm very upbeat, I must say that. And I am so thrilled, and I keep saying this to everyone, that we are so fortunate to have been born and grown up in this era. And our golden period is now, like, when you're 45, 50, 52, whatever, that's the time when you've left all the struggles behind, and you still have 20, 25 years to work. So, you look forward to things.
I'm sure more. Yeah.
I'm grateful to you saying that. I want to live for 100 years and work up to 89, 90 at least, if not more. So then because if you are at 65, 70 now, you'll just start feeling, ab to mere paas time hi nahi hai. So when you're at 50, 45, etc., you know that India is shining, India is doing so well, and you will be able to contribute and you will be able to gain both. So I am extremely thrilled to be in the Modi government era, and I must tell you that we are seeing growth all around. Inclusivity is something, and sustainability is something which I love to talk, and I also work on it, because ESG principles are the subject that I'm very fond of, as I sit in a number of boards. So I've seen that inclusivity is now taking the center stage in India, because हम सब जानते हैं कि कई बार ऐसा लगता है कि 2% के पास 98% वेल्थ है, और ऐसा कहा जाता है, और आपने देखे जनधन योजना वगैरह से मोदी गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग वेरी हार्ड. एंड why only Modi government? All the others, the predecessors, have also tried. It just takes a little time to percolate things. For example, I am struggling for 28 years. Now is where you see me what I am.
Right.
But I've had my share of struggle. Similarly, India has had its share of struggle. Every government has worked for it. Why we are talking about Modi government is because it's a current dispensation.
Exactly, yes.
So what I'm saying is that now we are really seeing the results of so much that has happened in the past, which is
Right.
accentuated and accelerated by the present government.
Right. So if I have to, ask you, suppose 3 points, 3 good points, which I think the BJP government has done in the last 9 years, and 3 not so good points which it has done in terms of managing the country's finances. So what would be your takeaways?
See, first thing I think,
We'll talk about
let
the good
us,
part first.
yeah, let us talk about the women reservation bill, which has
Right.
just got passed
Right. Yes.
yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah.
So I think I must talk about it because me myself being a woman, and I have been the second lady president of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India.
Yes.
That's a national body.
Yes. Yes.
I have felt that reservation is important because when you contest elections, there are so many other things that you have to put in, which is not possible sometimes. So this reservation bill, maybe the effects and the benefits we'll get after a few years, but there has to be a beginning somewhere. And I think this leave was laid down way back, and because of the strong numbers that we have and the strong willpower that we have, the Modi government has actually been able to really fasten this. So I'm very happy about this. Second, from my perspective, if you ask me, this insolvency and the bankruptcy law,
Right.
you may not be so much
Yes.
aware of
If you
it,
can
but
just
we talk
in
about
brief,
it in the
yeah.
newspapers. And why am I talking about this is because I have a first-hand information about it. So this law has been brought in by this government, and it actually is a law where resurrection happens,
Okay.
where rehabilitation happens.
Okay.
And maybe if I can explain you in 2-3
Yeah,
minutes
please,
as you asked for
please,
it.
please.
So I
Yes.
wish to tell you this is a great achievement of this government because it's a law which is telling you that look, in this country there are several such businesses which are not doing well and have been stuck for some reasons or the other. So those assets of those companies are actually not in the benefit of anyone because they're stuck.
Correct.
Companies are closed
Correct.
or they become sick. So what this government said that let these companies' assets and those companies who are ill and sick come back in the mainstream of the economy so that it is used more, it is exchange of hands happens more, and therefore the circulation of money will improve, and therefore the economy strength will improve, the circulation of money will happen, the debt market will improve.
Right.
What has happened because of this law is all those companies who were very sick, who were in sometimes ICU in the
Right.
that sense of the
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
they've all been, because of this law, actually got a new lease of life,
Right.
either by rebirth or by death.
Okay.
So
Okay.
both is kind of a rehabilitation, is what I agree.
Right.
So this law has actually put in huge number of crores, lakhs of crores into the market,
Okay.
and therefore the money market has become better,
Right.
and people are getting rid of the ailment. So this is one particular, I think, achievement
Right.
of this law. And third is these gram panchayats. We are divided. Let's not talk about it much more, but we are divided